Today we're going to be talking about the M2 Sniper by Kaleido. This is a second generation sealed dual system coffee roaster, and we'll talk about what that means in a little bit. But the good people at the Espresso Outlet have given me the opportunity to try this roaster and to share my experiences with you. And today I just want to share my first impressions. The brand itself, the Kaleido brand, is finding its place here in the home coffee roasting market or industry. It's in a unique spot because there aren't many products like this in the price range and in the size. Really, there's only a few that I can think of. And the Kaleido product line, and that's one of the things that's unique about the brand, is, I mean, they've got roasters, the M1, starting at 50 grams and going up to 200 grams. That's the range. The M2, which is 50 gram to 400, and the M6, which is, I think it's 200 to 700 is the range capacity that it can handle. And then the M10, which can roast up to 1.2 kilos. So the brand is something that's getting attention, and because of the range, there is a broader audience that might find interest in their product line. The Kaleido brand is newer. It's only been out a few years, and this is one of the reasons why I reached out to the Espresso Outlet, who are the U.S. distributors for this product, and asked if I could borrow one of their coffee roasters and check it out and share that with you. The Kaleido M10 all the way down to the M1, they range from, I think it's like $1,200 up to about $2,400. Then I received the roaster. It came in a wooden crate. Inside the wooden box that you have to unscrew to be able to open the lid is a cardboard box that's protected, and it also has a like foam insulation to protect the roaster. So care was put into designing the packaging and into getting the product delivered to me. I took the roaster out of the box, handle right here, and you can lift it right up. It's fully assembled. You don't need to assemble anything on this roaster other than putting this handle on here, as well as putting the trier into the roaster, and then this little plate that kind of allows the coffee beans to pile up here. That's just something that you unwrap and set on top of the roaster. There's really no assembly. The only part that I needed to do any assembly with was the adapter on the back here that wasn't provided by Kaleido, but I was able to find that online at Grainger with the help of Barrett at the Espresso Outlet. So that's the other thing, is the support. I've talked with Barrett several times online and on the phone to help me with questions I had about the roaster. The technology that they've included with this, so the base model gives you a tablet that plugs in USB into the back of the roaster. It comes with it if you buy the standard version or the dual system. It has their own proprietary software that displays a visual graph of kind of like a simplified version of Artisan, but it's still effective and still works. I've roasted some great coffee on this roaster, surprisingly great coffee on this roaster, in the manual mode with this tablet. And it also has an auto mode. The technology in the software allows you to be able to roast that golden roast that maybe you did by mistake and you wish you could do it again. All you have to do is save the profile and then load up coffee, charge it at the same temperature, hit a button, and it roasts the whole roast for you with very little involvement by you during the roast. You should always be a part of the roast and always pay attention, but it will follow the bean curve temperature all the way through the roast. I was very surprised. I experimented with that, and I'll talk more about that in a future video. One other thing, the tablet can read Fahrenheit and Celsius. Okay, now it comes time to actually use the roaster, and first impressions are, wow, this roaster's quiet. Turn on the drum right now, and here we go. The drum's on, and you can hardly hear it turn. When you turn the air on, I'll turn the air on, Okay, the air is on. So obviously it's going to make some noise, but it's not loud. This is a lot quieter than, quieter than the fresh roast. It's quieter than the popper. It is quieter than my Mill City 500 gram. Power-wise, this roaster heats up very quick. For me to say, okay, I want to start to roast some coffee, I push a couple of buttons and get my coffee ready, and within 10 minutes, potentially, 10 minutes, I could roast coffee. For it to get to its temperature, it could probably get there quicker than that, but you want the roaster to warm up. That leads me to some of the really cool features about the power. And again, this is all controlled through the tablet. And because you are controlling digitally, you push a button, you hear it click or you hear it beep, then all of the changes are done in increments. And as far as controlling the roaster, it seems easier to control because you can touch a button and you can see a change, a number, and then associate that with what the roaster will do and does, and it happens quickly. First impressions with being able to control the roaster and being able to see how powerful it is. For me to get to dry, my beans dry, or to get through a roast, I'm not going to be slugging through a roast for 15 minutes. Changes to the temperatures that I make, the carbon fiber heating elements seem to give almost instantaneous change in temperature. When I did the seasoning roasts, you could see my rate of rise. I had great control over what was happening with the rate of rise, with the changes that I would make. And by changing the airflow or changing the heat, I had really good control over the roaster. Now, somebody that's never roasted before, there's a learning curve. It's not going to be real easy. There are going to be things you have to learn, basic concepts you have to understand, and just learning how to control the roaster. So I don't want to give the impression that anybody can just start roasting on this and have perfect roasts. It's a learning experience. There's a learning curve. But based on my experiences with a lot of different roasters, this was a very easy roaster to control. When I received this unit, it came with tools. And that was a little concerning for me. I'm thinking, why would they give me a bunch of tools? Because it's going to break, right? That's why they're giving me tools. But the reality is that all coffee roasters are going to, at some point, have a problem. They're going to need a part replaced. They're going to need something taken apart to be cleaned. And so what Kaleido has done is they've designed this product to be taken apart by the layperson so that they can replace the part. They've made it easy to be able to do that. They've already got instructional videos for things. So if, for example, if the heating element goes on this roaster, it's not the end of the world. You can order another heating element. They're not very expensive. And it's easy to replace. Unscrewing a few of the Allen nuts or Allen screws that are on this roaster will give you access to the heating element, which you can take out and put a new one in. Cleaning and maintenance, same thing. So they provide these tools because you are going to want to maintain your roaster. I've done that with my Mill City. I've done that with my fresh roast to clean it. I've done that with the popper. And so they provide some basic tools to do that. The design of this drum is such that the chaff will come off the beans and the chaff will fall down into the chaff tray. Most of the time my chaff comes out just great, but I have noticed a couple of times with really chaffy coffee where all the chaff didn't come out. There was still a little bit left in the drum. So I'm going to be keeping a watch on that and letting you know what happens. I wish the tray was a little bigger because if you do 400 grams capacity, that's what the capacity is, this thing's filled to the hilt. So it would have been nicer if this would have been a little bigger. My experience has been that this thing cools really quick. Cool air is being drawn through the sides of this and it's getting pulled through the beans. Also from the top, it's getting pulled from the top down. I think it has great circulation. I think it cools the beans really quick. Beans at second crack cooling in a minute and a half to room temperature, at least my experience. That is really, really good. You want to slow this roast down as quick as you can. These fans are very powerful. I have heard people saying that they want to hook up vents on the back so that the smoke doesn't blow out of the fan here. And those, I would assume, are people that are roasting pretty dark. I saw a little bit of smoke come down into here during second crack. I'm roasting medium roasts, and I haven't had any smoke come into the house. I haven't had any real issues. The magnetic chute. This is another really cool feature. This has a positive lock on it, and I have no complaints with the drawer, the way that it works. It works great for me. This little hopper thing here, a little janky. No real complaints. The only negative I had one time was on a full capacity 400 grams into the machine. When I went to close this, there was a bean that was down right where the chute closes that got stuck in there. It only happened once out of all of the times, and I'll just chalk that up as a fluke thing. The design itself is kind of unique. First impressions are this is kind of cool looking, but it's kind of weird looking. They've put these heat shields right here, these wings on here to protect you from getting burned. It's still going to get hot. This roaster is going to get hot. You want to be careful while you're roasting, like with any roaster. So far, mostly all good to talk about. If the chaff becomes a concern in the getting through the spindles, I'm going to have to figure out a way to be able to deal with that. Whether it's me not using enough air, or maybe it needs cleaning more often. I don't know. So we'll figure that out. But so far, it isn't a concern of mine, but it's something I'm going to be paying attention to. The chaff collector has filled up. It has collected a lot of chaff. It's functional. It does its job. It's working. You just need to make sure you empty the chaff after every roast. You got to do that. I haven't gotten to the Bluetooth and the Artisan portion of this yet. That'll be in a future video. I hope you've enjoyed what I've shared so far. Leave your comments here if you've got questions about my experiences with this roaster. If you like the content that you've seen so far, if you like this video, hit the like button. Also subscribe. That really helps me out. And we'll have videos on profile roasting with the M2. We will have videos that deal with Artisan. We're going to do quite a few more roasts with this roaster, and we'll get to see all of the good, the bad if there's any, and we'll be able to talk about that. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great week roasting. We'll see you next time.